We're starting prep towards the end of the month. We're gonna be going heavy on the calories, a ton of cardio.
And so they're saying we're gonna start dieting at the end of the month. Sorry, it's starting now. I've already given the plan. I'm expecting the diet to start right now. Coach Greg, and in today's video, I'm coaching the Tren Twins. Great choice. You gonna debate me? And so these guys, their ambition to be IFBB pros and incredibly strong powerlifters, something I know a lot about. And they're only 21 years of age. And have you seen their genetics, their work ethic? And so of course I'm coaching them. We're gonna see just how far we can take them. And so they posted a video entering our first bodybuilding competition. And so I'm gonna go over the video, watch what they're saying and say, do I agree, disagree? Are they gonna be able to listen to me? Remember, these guys are young, they're ego lifting in the gym. And so it's a lot different to train for strength than it is for bodybuilding competitions.
We in here working every day!
And so the biggest thing I've noticed in coaching athletes throughout the year, the biggest thing that determines somebody from greatness to just mediocrity is in fact their work ethic. Are they willing to train harder than last time, year after year, to achieve their goals? These guys, they have it in spades. And so I fully believe they can achieve all of their ambitions. Now, if you train like these guys and you don't have their genetics, you're never gonna look like this. Even with performance-enhancing drugs, you'll never develop a physique like this. You do need to have the genetics, but these guys have it.
Motherfuckers, they would have stopped. They hit 6-plate deadlift, they would have called the workout. That was 2 hours ago.
And so one thing I have to actually do with these guys is dial them down a bit. You can't overtrain, can't ego lift, and sometimes less is more. You have to recover and you have to avoid injuries. But I do love the ambition, I love the aggression, I love the fact that they want it so badly. I can tell they're not faking this. This is not a show. They actually train like this. There's a difference between training hard and training smart. You have to do both. And they've stated that Mike is 5'6" tall, same as Coach Greg, short little manlet, and his brother Chris, 5'6¾", slightly taller. But as I'm watching this video, I'm thinking, Chris does look significantly taller, perhaps just out-angling him. But what it does mean is that to compete in classic physique, as some of you are going to be wondering, could they compete in classic physique? The weight cutoff, it's 175 pounds for both of them. And so it's possible that they could make that weight class. We can't be sure. As it currently stands, I do believe they're approaching 20% body fat, but are close to 215 pounds. And so that is in fact a lot of weight to lose. But most people do carry a lot of water weight. And so when you diet down to 5% body fat, coupled with dehydration, you can oftentimes lose way more weight than you think. And so it's possible that perhaps one of them could make classic physique while the other perhaps only compete in open bodybuilding. And so in open bodybuilding at the amateur level, they have several different weight classes. And so the first thing I suggested is we should try to make middleweight 176 pounds. Get completely shredded, dehydrate, dry out to make the weight class, and then compete bigger than last time. If you compete in the light heavy class, if you're in the bottom end, you're at a significant weight disadvantage to guys who are bigger. But if they put on so much muscle and it's simply not possible, then of course they will compete in the light heavyweight division.
So I've decided to blast hella gear and get literally huge and go for that IFBB.
And yes, I understand this, but even if that's your goal, it's all about progressive overload. Even though you want to blast hella gear, you don't do that on your first show. After all, he stated he's only been on 300 milligrams of test since mid-October, and he's only on 150 milligrams now. And so I have to take him for his word. And so assuming that he's only taken these low doses, he's not gonna blast hella gear his very first show. You take the lowest doses that cause you to get the gains, and over time you can titrate upwards. And though he's amped, excited, wants to get his pro card on his very first try, I do my best to make smart choices so that they don't abuse their bodies. Remember, if you want to be an IFBB pro, it's not good to be an IFBB pro and then have to end your career for health reasons 1 year later.
Greg made that video on us. I literally just laugh when I hear remarks like this.
Obviously, I doubted the statement that they were natural in their teen years, as look at their development. And so if anything, what a great compliment. If they're actually natural in their teen years and they had that much muscle, imagine their potential. And so although some people think, oh, this is an insult, I'm only telling you what I think. I'm not doing it to lie to you. I'm just giving you my thoughts. And so if you're actually natural and someone thinks you're not, take it as a compliment.
The people who are talking shit, you know, making videos on us, are the same ones trying to use us for clout.
And one thing that sometimes young people don't understand is regardless of the video is negative or positive, any kind of publicity is good publicity. You made a video saying Max Doucette's not natural. You think that really hurts him? All it does is all his fans support him. Oh, Coach Greg, you're so bad for saying what you think. He's 100% natural. He only put on 60 pounds in 3 years. That's easy for him because look at his genetics. It's just way better than anyone else. And so maybe, but maybe not. I tell you what I think. You really think it hurts him in some way? Do you think he got less or more views, less or more followers because of my video? And so if people are putting down the Tren Twins saying this or that, all it's doing is further progressing their growth.
You don't take creatine before you work out. That's your first mess up, man, honestly.
You could take it before, during, after, in the morning, before bed, in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter!
All that really matters with creatine is that you take 5 grams or more, preferably every day, as what happens is over time, your body saturates itself with creatine, and creatine combines with ADP to form ATP, giving you more readily available energy. And so although it's only by a few percentage points, it's still been shown in over 1,000 studies to be highly beneficial for bodybuilders, powerlifters, and so on. Looking for creatine or even better, GO2 Max, which makes you a better butter burner, the main ingredient, NMN, banned by the FDA. It's going to be banned from Amazon starting March 13. And so get this supplement. Click the link in the description, code Greg, 10% off.
You're starting prep towards the end of the month. We're going to be going heavy on the calories, shit ton of cardio.
And so unfortunately, it's not true. And so I certainly hope they're going to listen to Coach Greg, as what most people think is that when you're a bodybuilder, you're all about bulking and cutting. We're going to bulk for the first 8 weeks and cut the next 8. Yeah, if you do that, you're going to show up fat, sloppy, not look good. And so they're saying we're going to start dieting at the end of the month. Sorry, it's starting now. I've already given the plan. I'm expecting the diet to start right now. And so I've analyzed their physiques and I've seen Mikey's progress photos, and overall I'm saying he's close to 20%. Back looks very lean, but the rest of his physique, although it looks great, still carrying a significant amount of body fat. He doesn't need to add in more calories, doesn't need to increase body fat in order to put on muscle. You can maintain. And he's currently, as it stands right now, just over 15 weeks out. And so I don't want them to bulk up and have to get above 20% body fat and then to have to go on a strict diet. The last thing I want is someone to crash diet for a show. All too often people, they get too sloppy in the off season, they diet really slowly, and then come 5 weeks out, they're doing 3 hours of cardio, starving themselves on chicken, broccoli, and rice. And so the Tren Twins, although they look great right now, it's time to start the diet. Not a strict hard diet, but certainly it's time to cut back the calories just a little bit and slowly edge our way closer to getting in contest shape. And so you can see, he doesn't need to put a huge amount of size in his legs. What you do as a bodybuilder is you want balance. You don't want overly developed quads and small upper body. And so he doesn't need to put on a huge amount of size on his legs. He just needs to get leaner. And so can you see the intensity? They're amped up. This is what you want. If you have a guy that can train this hard, it's going to be easy. What's worse is when you have to convince people to do more reps. When I was a personal trainer, I hated to have to say, 5 more, come on, 3 more, and they give up. I'm like, really? I have to actually tell you how many more? I should be telling you when to stop. Hey, that's enough. You don't need to do more. Not with these guys. They're training harder than last time. They believe in training hard to failure on every single set. Listen, you don't actually need to do that. Yeah, you should train to failure on some sets, but you don't want to do too much. If you do high volume combined with high intensity, it's going to lead to overtraining. There's only so much you can do. Your body does, in fact, need to recover. And notice Mike spotting Chris from the front. This is not how you should perform a spot. If the guy actually can't lift a weight, you're not in a position to help him properly. Much safer to spot from behind. And so although it looks cool in the gym, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, one more, get the rep in. If you actually need to help him, you're not in the position to do so. But in saying that, notice the safety bars. If the bar does come crashing down, the safety bars are there to save him. And so although the spotter is in the right position, having those safety bars, to me, that is much more important. And so look at this intensity, the forced reps, the going harder than last time, training beyond failure. This is something you can't teach. It's in them. And so with this intensity coupled with proper training, they are going to be unstoppable. They're only 21. Obviously, they need to train harder than last time, but you don't need to train that hard to make gains. Studies mostly show between 1 and 3 reps of failure, that is going to be enough to produce growth. Personally, I believe that some of those sets should be even harder than that, but make sure you use proper exercise form. Also, you don't need to train very heavy. Oftentimes people think the heavier the weight, the bigger the muscles are going to be. It's not true. At a very minimum, 5 reps. You should never be performing lifts under 5 reps unless you're planning to compete in powerlifting. It's not safe, more likely to get injured, won't produce as much growth, and so why ego lift? And so if you're in the gym, my personal belief, around 10 to 15 reps, a lot safer. Obviously, you can train heavier if you want, but please avoid getting injured.
I gotta get these joints massive.
Cook!
The size of my head.
Yeah, we do need a lot of size to compete in open bodybuilding, but remember, 21 years of age, competing in middleweight, that would be 176 pounds. Considering he's already 215 pounds and has a lot of body fat to lose, for me, at 15 weeks out, it's more important to consider leaning out than it is to get bigger. And so let's look at the side chest. Look at Mike on the left. Look at the size of his legs. The hamstrings, the quads, absolutely monstrous. Also, large arms, the delts are there, and so all that's really missing is the conditioning. And so if you're looking for an off-season body, there is no reason to have any more body fat than this. They should not be trying to bulk up. They should not try to force in calories. And in fact, they could be slightly leaner. And so Chris on the right with the longer hair, look how much taller he looks. Is he really only 3/4 of an inch taller? Perhaps he's out angling him, but he does look significantly larger. And so as you can see, Chris's legs do not look as thick from the side, but he's not posing them properly. He's have his foot placed slightly to back. It's not letting him look as thick, but he perhaps has better aesthetics. He looks taller. Perhaps one may compete in classic physique and the other in bodybuilding. And remember, due to the fact that classic physique has a weight cap, you don't need as much size, you don't need to take as many PDs, and so perhaps one of these guys could turn pro in classic physique.
That's not a sissy squat. Yes, it is.
And so regardless if it's a sissy squat or not, this is too heavy. This is clearly too heavy. You don't want to compromise your form to get the weight up. You do not need to perform sissy squats to become an open class bodybuilder. And so what I'm seeing is on the descent, he's bouncing in the bottom, trying to get momentum to get out of the hole. 2 plates aside is simply too heavy. Lighten the weight, 1 plate aside, and go from there.
This is why we're not going to be IFBB pros.
Well, possibly, if you do exercise like this incorrectly with too much weight and you're ego lifting and you get injured, it's not going to help. But the second reason would be if you don't get in condition. So the number one piece of advice, aside from having the muscles, is you have to have the shreds. Stop thinking we need to force feed calories to bulk up and get bigger. You need to have the conditioning. You can gain muscle without being over 15% body fat. Remember, I've stated in a number of videos, 15% body fat. And many, and in fact, most open class bodybuilders are not over 15%. Look at guys like Ian Blair, Chris Bumstead, Derek Lunsford. Do they look like they're fat and sloppy in the off season? Most pro bodybuilders are closer to 10 or 12% in the off season because when you gain too much fat, you have to diet for months to get the fat off. And so why gain all that fat only to have to crash diet off in 4 months?
I gotta start drinking more water in our workouts.
Man, I've been so down bad lately, bro.
And so he's saying we're dehydrated, we need to drink more water in our workouts. Absolutely. I'd highly recommend Peri-Lite. It's an intra-workout. It's got BCAAs, EAAs, and it's going to help you to stay hydrated. I hate drinking plain water. I never drink plain water. When I'm at the gym, I'm drinking either Peri-Lite or a pre-pump pre-workout. It has pump products to help you get more jacked than last time without the stims.
It was authentic because we were feeling like shit that day.
Yeah. That's the thing is, I can't fake this shit. Like, you can't fake this shit.
And one thing I can guarantee is towards the end of the prep, you're not going to be able to fake having a lot of energy. As energetic as you are now, I guarantee every single bodybuilder, when they approach 5% body fat, they're not feeling good. They don't have a lot of energy. And so you have to embrace the suffering. It's not going to be easy. You look at any of the other younger bodybuilders, for example, Anthony Mantello, James English, Chris Bumstead, all have hardly any energy as they prepare for their competitions. And if you're at 20% body fat in the off season and you diet down to 5, it's going to be a nightmare. So I strongly recommend try to be lean in the off season. Not saying you have to have single digit body fat, but the leaner you can maintain and feel good, train smart, have the energy, that is where you should maintain your body fat. Perhaps 15% body fat or even a little lower. The lower you maintain your body fat, the less you have to diet and the easier it will be.
If we get our pro card on the first try, that'd be absolutely unreal.
And so so what they need to know is you can't get a pro card on your first try because what they're entering is called a national pro qualifier. And so what happens is at this first competition, the top 2 in each weight class, they qualify to go to the national championships, of which there you can get your pro card. And so on June 10th, although it's a pro-am competition, meaning there are in fact pros competing on that same day, they have 2 separate competitions. The amateurs are not competing for pro cards. The top 2, they qualify to then go after their pro card.
And I don't think there's a better coach out there than Coach Greg, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so I have in fact coached very young pros to get their pro card. For example, Blair, I believe he was 22 years of age. He won the amateur Mr. Olympia, and he went on to be a top Mr. Olympia competitor, winning several shows and placing in the top 10 number of times at the Mr. Olympia. But what I can tell you is that in the 3 shows I coached Ian for, guy was shredded. He was leaner than this when he started, and 6 weeks later I was like, what the heck happened? It was incredible. And not only did he win his weight class, he won the overall on 3 consecutive tries, earning his IFBB pro card. And personally, I think there's no rush to get their pro cards, and although they want to get it in their first try, you don't need to. It's better to stretch out the gains, not to abuse PDs, and do it safer than last time. And just the other day, I was watching a video from Chris himself, and they asked, what about being the youngest pro? He's like, who cares? Do you want to be the youngest pro, or do you want to be a good pro? And so Chris said, don't abuse PDs, take your time getting there, and enjoy the journey. That would be the same advice I'd give to the Tren Twins. It's not a race. Take your time, do it as healthy as possible. Not that taking PDs is healthy, but of course, there are healthier ways to do it than others. Hopefully they can follow my advice, going to do the best I can to help them. Hopefully I'll be a good role model, can lead by example, and tell them not to make the same mistakes that others have made. Wishing them best, ending it here. Subscribe, click the bell button, like the video if you liked it, watch the 2 bloops, follow me on Instagram, Greg Doucette IP Pro. Remember, cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team, clothing line, harder than last time supplements, code Greg, 10% off. And until next time, I am out.